think COVID affected my mental health in a variety of different ways. I think the biggest way that it sort of affected my mental health was just the lack of like human connection I had for so long.
It's very hard to focus on a lot of things that have to better yourself when there's a lot of restrictions in place, and that's what you have to be focusing on.
Do I think the freshman experience now is going to be the new normal? I mean, I think we're already kind of starting to see restrictions and stuff loosen up a little bit. So I'm pretty optimistic that, you know, things are going to be relatively back to normal next year.
I don't see everything recovering entirely soon, at least. But I would hope that this doesn't become the new normal, because I think it would be a lot more fruitful to have freshman students come onto campus and have an in-person orientation and be able to get to other classes and really explore the campus.
For the question, do I think it was harder to make friends during COVID? I feel like I had to really push myself to make friends. Like, it was a little bit more challenging. I was expecting that when I got here I was just going to make friends through my classes. I feel like that's kind of what is sometimes expected, but with Zoom calls and stuff like that, it's really hard to make meaningful connections through a screen.
I think initially I found a pretty solid group of friends that I've kind of stuck with throughout the semester, but obviously there are some like struggles socializing in the pandemic.
The flex classes, as much as I would love to be fully in person, is probably the best option for us right now. I know personally I've had a lot more classes online than in person, which personally frustrates me because obviously I'm paying to go in person.
I really hate participating in Zoom calls, but I don't mind participating in person. So I feel like I could perform a little bit better if I was in person rather than just online.
I kind of like the flex classes, but I'm also a little bit lazy, so that might just be catering to some like negative habits.
I will say, being an off-campus student, it has been nice to be able to stay home on some days and take classes on Zoom. I do think that it's a more enriching experience for students though when you are in the classroom. So the flex learning style is definitely something that has its ups and downs.
I'm a theater and performance major, so a lot of them are not as helpful, especially my acting classes. It's really difficult to make acting classes on Zoom.
Activities on campus have changed a lot in like virtual activities. I know that it seems like I always have meetings happening through Zoom, which is kind of frustrating because it's better to be able to see each other and be in person to kind of work on projects and stuff.
I know that a lot of activities have definitely been cut down. Personally, I'm very lucky not many of my activities have really been canceled, but I know that a big part of why people go to Emerson is because of the extracurriculars.
I personally have been able to participate in a lot of activities on campus. I've participated in athletics and EIV, which is a really cool student-run production company.
The biggest change pre-COVID to post-COVID, I think, is just the amount of people that we see around campus, either Emerson students or non-Emerson students. Obviously, we're in a city, so normally there's a lot of people in general, but even just amongst the Emerson community, you definitely feel the amount of people that either chose to move off campus or chose to just do the semesters online. It just feels a little bit emptier.
I think the biggest change on campus has been being able to be like with our friends. As upperclassmen, we're spread out through the city and through dorms on campus, and so we can't really hang out with each other.
Getting an internship is definitely weird. I know most people have been having to do Zoom interviews, and obviously normally you have a phone call interview before an in-person interview, but the Zoom ones are definitely weird. Luckily for mine that I got over the summer, I was able to meet with them in person, which was very unique to this year. I don't really know why they allowed me to go in person, but it's definitely been different because they're all able to be remote, and you're almost looking for a different skill set this year as opposed to past years.
Right now, finding an internship is both easy and hard, and the reasons for that are definitely because now that a lot of internships are remote, there are more opportunities to look. If you're in Boston, you can start looking in LA and possibly get an internship while you're in Boston working in LA. However, I do think that it's more competitive right now to look for internships, especially for Emerson students, since there is that remote option.
The school handled COVID, I think, the best that it could. Obviously, no one really knew anywhere what to do, and last year sending us home was definitely, as much as none of us wanted it to happen, it was the best decision. And then this year, I'm glad that we were able to come in person, because I know a lot of schools, not only in the city but around the country, weren't able to go. So I'm grateful, and I know they did the best that they kind of could.